So in this lecture, I'll talk a little bit about Big Paper 1. So I have the Big Paper 1 module currently up on Canvas. This paper, let's take a look at the assignment sheet. The assignment will be due October 4th, so you have just about a month to be working on this project. You do have to have a plan in by September 20th. So first I'll talk about the big paper in general, then I'll talk about the plan and what else is going on in this module. So let's take a look here at Big Paper 1. You'll see the assignment sheet is in the assignment for Big Paper 1. So 700 words minimum, 1,000 words maximum, so roughly 3 to 4 pages in MLA format. You need a minimum of 5 outside sources that must be used and cited. You need a bibliography or a works cited page. At least 4 of those sources must be from academic journals or books. So books or articles from experts in the field. In the resources I provide in the module, that will teach you how to find quality academic sources. So quotations, you need 3 well-placed quotations throughout the paper. Make them very small, considering the paper itself is only 3 to 4 pages. So the directions: choose some practice in which humans use or affect non-human animals. Report on the potentially morally relevant features of the practice. So this includes any harm or benefit to the non-human animals and to the humans involved. In order to report on the ways that non-human animals can be harmed or benefited by the practice in question, you will have to research how non-human animals can be benefited or harmed in general. This amounts to researching the mental, emotional, and physical capacities of the non-human animal in question. And this is a key necessary feature of your paper. So you'll need to talk about whether the being that you're discussing can feel pain, whether or not it creates bonds of friendship with other creatures. So whether separating it from other creatures might have emotional effects, things like that. Do not argue whether the practice is justifiable or not. So this is not an argumentative paper. This is just an informational paper where you're doing the research. You'll be required to evaluate the ethical dimensions of the practice in a future paper. So the way I built the big papers in this class is such that the first paper you do a whole bunch of research, the second paper you deal with moral theories, and the third paper you can sort of marry your first 2 papers to come up with a third paper, the big paper for this class. So you get the facts straight, you get your moral theories down, you combine the facts with the moral theories, you have a moral evaluation of the practice for the third paper. So this one, don't say whether it's right or wrong. You do need a thesis, which should come at the end of your first paragraph, both a thesis and a plan. So, but your thesis should not be this practice is wrong or this practice needs to be modified or anything like that. It can be something bland and informational as there are tremendous costs for the animals in this practice and tremendous benefits for the humans, right? Where you'd substitute your practice in that sentence. So that can be your thesis, but note that's just a straight informational thesis. It doesn't get into moral evaluation of the facts. So examples of practices, using non-human animals for food. You can talk about different labeling practices, different types of farming so that the food can be sold with different labels. That's a good idea. Don't talk about cows because the example paper and the example plan that I give you, they're about cows, so don't talk about cows. Any practice in which non-human animals are used for entertainment, so zoos, circuses. Don't do SeaWorld. I've had too many SeaWorld papers. Dog shows, bullfights, things like that. Any practice in which non-human animals are used for clothing. The use of non-human animals for science, so experimentation on non-human animals. Any practice in which humans intervene to preserve non-human animals or environments in which they live. This is an especially good one because there are interesting disagreements between people who believe in animal rights or their main issue is animal welfare and environmentalists. Those views come together in interesting ways. They come apart in interesting ways. So there are really good papers to be written in this area. Kill and no-kill shelters. That's interesting. The use of service animals. Don't do seeing eye dogs. Try to pick something controversial, like the use of animals, dogs in police work or war, horses in police work or war. Something that somebody might say, maybe we shouldn't do this. The seeing eye dogs, everybody's okay with that, right? That's a good thing. So try to, some notes on picking a topic. Try to make it as narrow as possible. This is a 3 to 4 page paper. So you want to try to narrow your topic down to a point where it's almost so narrow that you can't find 5 sources on it. If you're finding hundreds or thousands of sources to cite and to research, then your topic is too broad. So if you're doing experimentation on animals, one particular proposed experiment and the results of that experiment, that's a good narrow topic. If you're talking about using animals in entertainment, pick the particular animal and how it fares in a zoo, or a particular type of animal. A particular circus company and their legal issues with or their problems with animal rights group or something. So narrow your topic as much as possible. If it's about using animals for food, narrow it down to a particular type of animal or a particular product from that animal, like egg production and what happens in free-range egg production, right? That would be an appropriate topic. So narrow it down as much as you possibly can. If you have any questions about a topic, feel free to shoot me an email. So the whole assignment is going to be worth 70 points. The 50 points will be based on the quality of the paper. 20 points will be a function of the quality of your plan. So let's talk about your plan, but before I get to the plan, note that right after Big Paper 1 here, I have a Big Paper 1 example. And I even include my comments, so you can see the utilization of dairy cows for U.S. milk production. So narrowed down to a particular animal, a particular product, a particular place. That's a model for how you should try to be narrowing down your topic. You'll see things like I include there's a good thesis here, there's a good plan as far as what's going to be covered in the rest of the paper. This research paper, like other papers that I have you write in this class, I want everything previewed in the introduction, everything that you're going to be talking about, and where all that information will lead to, so a thesis, right? And then the rest of the paper should, there shouldn't be any surprises. It should roll out according to plan, right? But you can go through and read this paper. One thing to note is just how many citations there are. Nearly every sentence is from a cited source. And when you're writing an informational report like this, that's how it should be. All right, so now let's go and talk about what I'm expecting for a plan. So big paper number 1, plan. You have to create a document. It's just like a 1.5 page document, or 2-page doc, probably a 2-page document, in which you lay out what your topic is, what your title is going to be, how you're going to organize the information that you found. You have to list 3 interesting facts that you found in your research, and those can be quoted wholly from your sources, or if you want to summarize, you can do that either way. And you need your works cited page. So this is to allow you to pace yourself with this assignment. So you're doing your research in the first couple weeks, and then you're doing your writing after that. So the plan is a research plan, and that way, before you even get to any of the writing, any of the draft writing, I can see if you're heading down a good path or not with this assignment. So I also have an example plan here, I believe, from the same paper. Yep, from the same paper. So what the title is, what the topic is. Note this person had them as the same. They probably Maybe they could be the same, but maybe aim for a more interesting title than just the topic. How the paragraphs are going to be organized, 3 interesting facts, and then a works cited page. And this paper, this plan, they got an A from me, so you can see exactly what an A plan and an A paper look like. The research, you'll note, is very extensive. Plenty of real high quality sources, which is exactly what I'm looking for. So how will you learn how to find high quality sources for this paper? How will you learn research strategies? Well, it's right here at the top of the module. So I've research strategies, read first and then take the quiz, and then using databases, read those and take the quizzes. You'll note these are 0 points, but I strongly urge that you use these. When I have this class in person, we actually do a tour of the library, and a librarian walks you through this information. This information that I've included in this module is from the Bakersfield Library, and they do a great job of explaining research strategies and how to use the databases for maximum effect. So that's all for Big Paper 1. Let me know if you have any questions. Just shoot me an email. Otherwise, I look forward to reading what you come up with.